So today we're going to be talking about succulents. Succulents are types of plants that store water in their leaves and in their stems, so you don't have to water them very often. So a cactus is also a type of succulent. And these are some that I have that I've been growing for a while. So I'm going to propagate them, which means I'm going to grow more out of one of their leaves. Succulents are really easy to propagate. And I'm also going to show you what to do when they get like this, because these guys, as you can see, are kind of leggy and their stems have gotten really long. And that happens when they're not getting enough sunlight. They get really tall because they're trying to get closer to the sun. So, I'm sorry guys, I'm going to try to put you in more indirect sun, but I'll show you what to do if this happens. And you can see this guy already has some roots growing off the side. So all you really need for this project are your succulents and a pot with some soil. The soil is pretty dry, but that's actually a good thing because succulents don't really need much water. So to propagate these, I'm just going to take one of these leaves and really gently move it to the side until it snaps off. You want to make sure the whole thing snaps off in one piece. Like that. And then you just place it in your pot. And that's really all you have to do. Now you just have to wait. I'm going to try to propagate this one too. I've never actually done this before, but we'll see what happens. So I'm just really gently moving the leaf side to side until it breaks off. So now this is what I've got, and obviously these guys are pretty close together, and when they start to grow I'm going to transplant them into different pots so that they're not all growing so close like this, but for now, while they're just starting their roots, this is fine. So I'm going to put this pot of leaves somewhere warm with some sun, but not too hot, and in a few weeks they're going to start to sprout. So these are some succulents that I started propagating a few weeks ago. And you can see out of the end of their leaves, they have some little tiny roots and a little tiny succulent. And they're actually already getting a little leggy, which I think means that I need to keep these guys outside, not inside. So I'm going to transfer these guys into a pot. So I'm just going to pick one up, place it on the soil, and really carefully try to cover up those tiny little roots. So those should be good for now. I'm going to put this outside so they get a little more sun and see how they do. And succulents really don't need much water. I think if you water them about once a month, they'll be totally happy. And this soil is pretty damp, so I'm not going to give them any more water. I'm just going to set them on my porch and see what happens. So now I'm going to work on cleaning this up a little bit because these guys have gotten a little too tall. So what I'm going to do is actually cut them down at the base and leave that stem in there because it might grow some new leaves. And then I'm going to cut off these top rosettes and replant them back in the same pot. So I broke off a few more leaves, so now all that's left is this top rosette, and I'm going to trim the stem so it's about that long, and I'm just going to stick this back in my pot. But first I'm going to do the same with this guy. So now I have to make some holes in this pot to put these guys in. So this is a little easier with a tool, so I'm going to use a chopstick. I'm going to make a hole and then just stick the stem in here. But I kind of need 2 hands. So now this is all done. And you can see these are the 2 that were a little too tall. And now I've trimmed them. And their stems will grow new roots. And I'm gonna make sure to not water this for quite a few days because you want to let that cut part of the stem heal and then grow new roots before it gets wet. So now here's my little succulent garden.